The year is 1998. You're just a kid on their first Pokemon journey. You stumble out of Mount Moon. Your team is injured. All you can think about is healing them. You see a patch of grass nearby, and decide to go around it to avoid more battles. To do that, you jump over a ledge, rush into the Pokemon Center, and bring your team to the nurse. And just like that, you've unknowingly crossed into a point of no return, and you're trapped in Cerulean City. You don't even realize it until you see what you're up against. Misty to the east, your rival to the north. That evil tree to the south, and an unforgiving ledge to the west. A ledge that proves to be the most important ledge in the entire game. It almost feels like this ledge was a design mistake. Why would they make it so you can't go back the way you came? What if you miss something on the way here, and now you can't get it again? Although it might not seem like it at first, this ledge teaches you some of the most important lessons you'll need to learn for the rest of your adventure. And it does that by trapping you before you realize what you've done. Today, we'll break down how this single ledge shapes the experiences you have for the rest of the game. So drink some water, do your stretches, and let's get started.
Oh look, Ginna wants you to support on Patreon.
Let's go back to the moment before you hopped over this ledge. What did you do up to that point? You got your starter, passed a locked gym, learned to catch some Pokemon, got poisoned by Weedles, defeated some rocks, and fought 2 gauntlets of trainers. The first gauntlet was in routes 3 and 4. This is the most amount of trainers you've seen so far. Your team is hurting, but luckily you found a Pokemon Center right outside Mount Moon. Then you go through the second gauntlet inside Mount Moon itself. This time, in addition to trainers, you're assaulted by wild Pokemon at every turn. On top of that, you've dealt with a team of evil bats that put you through situations similar to those in Viridian Forest. Your team will become confused, their life will be leeched, and you'll hit yourself trying to fight your way through. Then, at last, you made it to the other side. There's no more wild Pokemon around. You finally escaped the cave, which marks the end of the second gauntlet. Your first job is to get your team healed. Even if you had potions, you probably don't have that many left. The first thing you do is look for a Pokemon Center. There's no grass around here, and when you do see the grass patch on the way to the town, you actively avoid it. You beeline to the Pokemon Center in Cerulean City without second thought, which traps you in the city for the foreseeable future. That Pokemon Center outside Mount Moon wasn't just a moment of relief. It was a trick. The game was telling you, when you're hurt, go here to heal. Of course, the game also tells you this directly when you're first starting your adventure, but this specific Pokemon Center locks that idea into your head. Pokemon Centers are good, so you use them whenever you see them. Even the jingle conditions you. When you hear it, you know that you're healed, and you know that's a good thing. While it might be obvious now, remember that this is Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow. These were the first Pokemon games in the entire series, and the games had to teach us things that we now take for granted. Well, everyone knows that you can evolve Pikachu with a Thunderstone. Back then, we didn't know until an NPC, our friend, or even the anime told us. Also might not be obvious is that each Pokemon Center locks your location to that center when you use them. Basically, each time your team faints, the game will send you back to the last center you visited. So, what does that have to do with our favorite ledge? In the early Pokemon games, ledges act like a one-way door. You can use them to travel down, but if you try to travel up, they'll block your way. It's very intuitive, maybe in a why can't we just walk around the tree kind of way, but it's still simple enough that you'll learn it without much thought. But the ledge in Cerulean is different from others in the games, and possibly the entire series, for reasons we've already alluded to. Once you hop over this ledge, you'll find yourself completely boxed in. Like a closing gate or a burning bridge, you'll find yourself staring at the path you just took, and you'll come to one conclusion. There's no way back now. The only way out is through. This ledge, which I like to call the Ledge of Lessons, feels like it was unintentional at first. Why would the game designers want to trap you in this city? But if it was truly a mistake, it would have been corrected when Red, Blue, and Yellow were remade into Fire Red, Leaf Green, and the Let's Go games. And yet, the Ledge of Lessons remains in all of them. And truthfully, there is a way to go back without going forward. It's just very unlikely you'll know how to do it. You just have to have your team faint or grab an Abra and teleport without visiting Cerulean City's Pokemon Center. But to do that, you have to cross the Nugget Bridge first. And what waits for you at the Nugget Bridge? Your rival, 5 other trainers, and a Team Rocket Grunt, all before you can reach Abra's patch of grass. But in all likelihood, you probably just went straight into the Pokemon Center and healed. You've learned the basics by now. Your team is weakened, so you went to the Pokemon Center. What was that? I'll repeat it. You've learned the basics by now. Everything you've done up to this point was a tutorial. Viridian Forest, Brock, Mount Moon, all of them were a series of lessons that prepared you for the rest of the game. They may not have been a tutorial in the modern sense, but it was still an area where you were still getting your feet wet and leaving you with enough wiggle room to recover from mistakes. Now, the training wheels are off. In a sense, Cerulean City serves as your second hometown. Your real adventure as a skill trainer starts right here. So, what can you do now? You can enter the gym and battle Misty. She uses water types, which act as Brock's thematic opposite. While Brock's rock types were physical defenders, Misty's water types are specially focused attackers. They're not going to sit there and let you hit them. They're going to strike first and strike hard. But the difficulty of this fight was already decided. Whether you realize it or not, the first generation games have a hidden difficulty setting of sorts, and it's entirely dictated by your starter choice. Of course, the overall difficulty evens out as the game progresses, but the early game's difficulty is as clear as day. By coincidence, the starter colors closely resemble a stoplight, which also highlights their early game difficulty setting. If you chose the green Bulbasaur, you chose to have an easy early game. You likely had an easy time with Brock, and you'll have an easy time with Misty. If you chose the red Charmander, you chose a hard early game. You were weak to Brock, and now you're also weak to Misty. This section will require more patience if you pick Charmander instead of Bulbasaur. If you chose the yellow wait, hang on.
That's better. If you chose the yellow Squirtle, you were able to one-shot Brock's team, but you won't be able to do the same with Misty. Your experience will actually be the opposite. Instead of this battle seeming completely one-sided, you and Misty will struggle to deal damage to each other. This starter choice serves as a middle ground or average early game. The Ledge of Lessons, in its infinite wisdom, forces you to stick with your decision. While you couldn't change your starter choice, you now also can't change any other decision you made up to this point. Did you catch a Caterpie or a Weedle and master the power of early evolution? Did you buy the Magikarp so you could use it later? Did you grab a Moonstone so you can evolve your Nidoran into their final forms? Whether or not you did doesn't matter now. You have to work with what you have on hand, and you have to make do with what you've got, even if it's not ideal. So, say you have Bulbasaur. You've beaten Misty and got her badge. You still can't leave Cerulean City yet. The Ledge of Lessons and that evil tree won't let you. And while your badge lets you cut down that evil tree by the Pokemon, none of your Pokemon can learn Cut yet. They can only learn that on the SSN, which is a few steps further into your journey. So right now, the only path forward is up Nugget Bridge, where your rival awaits you. His team leads with a flying-type Pidgeotto, and he has Charmeleon in the back. Your Bulbasaur is at disadvantage again, and this is further emphasized in the remakes because Pidgeotto's Gust attack is properly a flying-type move instead of a normal-type attack. So while you're strong against Misty, you'll always be weaker than your rival. Even in Yellow version, where you have Pikachu, your rival will still have a Sandshrew. This fight is meant to be tough, but you know that. This section of the game is hard no matter what starter you choose, and yet it's still not overwhelming. What it does do is test your mettle, pull out your resourceful side, and encourage you to strategize in ways you haven't had to yet. The Ledge of Lessons cuts you off from what you knew in order to show you exactly what you already know. Whether you were strong or weak to Brock, you learned about type advantages and how they can affect a battle. The fights with your rival and Misty here reinforce that lesson further. This section of the game can feel like a trial by fire or a sink or swim situation, but it begs another question. How can you go back? You already know there's another gym you couldn't enter earlier, and if you traveled west, you might have seen that the Pokemon League, the end game, is over there too. Surely you have to go back there, even if it's not immediately. This tension between what you have to do later and what you're able to do now adds to the exploration experience. Not only do you have to find a way to beat the enemies currently in front of you, you also have to find a way to return home so you can face those future enemies. When I first traveled through Diglett Cave and saw the entrance to Pewter City nearby, I felt a wave of relief and excitement. That emotional response would not have been there if the Ledge of Lessons didn't block my path earlier. By cutting you off from everything you've known beforehand, you're forced to explore parts of the game that were sitting in front of you the whole time, in a way that was familiar and new at the same time. This is growth, and by passing this final test, you prove that you're ready to take on everything the game is going to throw at you. But you've played these games before, and you know this section isn't as punishing as I'm making it sound right now. That's because you've learned. You've gone through the trials and errors that the Ledge of Lessons want you to endure. You've gotten lost and explored. and you found your way back, but you weren't the same person you were before. Now, you know exactly what to do and can get your remaining badges, build your team, and explore the region in a way that you wouldn't have learned if you ran backwards every time something went wrong. Of course, future Pokemon games don't follow this pattern. Red, Blue, Yellow, and their remakes are the only games in the series that intentionally block your path like this. It may have been too difficult for beginners, but that doesn't change the fact that it was a good learning experience for those who did take up the challenge. What was your experience with this part of the game? Did you struggle during your first playthrough? Or was it a walk in the park? Let me know in the comments. Check out my Patreon, and thank you so much for watching.